And when it comes to working with your mind and the thoughts and your pictures that you hold in your mind and your self-image, your self-esteem, and all of these things that are just intangible, they're just elements of your mind, that it's difficult, it's even more difficult to work with these variables when you're in fight or flight, when you're aggressive, when you're recruiting large muscle groups and all of your blood, oxygen, nutrition is being channeled towards big muscle groups and not to your brain, your lungs, your heart, your liver. When you tap into parasympathetic, that rest and digest, then there's more attention available for inner observation, for observation of that inner universe. The more our attention is put outside of us, the less attention we have available for inside of us. And you only have a finite amount of attention. And maybe it's very big, maybe you don't have a lot of attention, but it's not infinite. It's something finite. And so the more you can collect that from external things and put your attention on your body, which is an external thing to your mind, but it's it's closer and closer and closer to the root. Some people would even think of the body as just part of the mind. It's inside the mind, but it's still an external to the thing in you that can observe the mind. So it's an externality, and obviously body pH, it affects what kind of metabolism happens, what metabolic pathways go down. For example, if your body is more alkaline, which we'll do in a second, that's just breathe lots of oxygen, it alkalizes your body, raises the pH, you become very energized, charged. You also become very sensitive. Your nerve endings become sensitive. You become emotionally sensitive as well as tactile sensitive when you're very oxygenated. And you also increase your ability to withstand CO2. So you can hold your breath a lot longer after you hyperventilate a lot. If you go the other end, hypoventilate, breathe less. This lowers pH. It acidifies the body if you don't breathe enough. And there she is. When you acidify the body, some interesting things happen. In the short term, in the long term, if you have an acidic body, it's not good. It leaches calcium from your bones, and that's where like osteoporosis and things come in. So, as you age, you eat less and less protein, or you'll leach calcium. But in the short term, an acidified blood, acidified body increases your pain tolerance. It's the opposite of being sensitive. It's insensitive. So, to deal with pain or handle pain or discomfort, breathe less, and you'll be able to tolerate it more. But you also might give yourself a headache. So that's kind of a downside of hypoventilating. Another thing about hypoventilating is it triggers the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest. So the less you breathe, the more into the nervous system around your belly, the nervous system around your heart and lungs that you'll tap into, the more of those inner images, thoughts that you'll tap into, the less you breathe. So most people, at some point in yoga, who has not done yoga here? Yeah? Okay. So a lot of people, I know for myself, doing yoga, there's a lot of times that I would get like hungry during the middle of yoga, or afterwards I would be like very, very hungry after yoga, or I might have like some kind of emotional breakthrough even, or just feeling very emotional, like almost like I might say things like I'm on the precipice of like an emotional release, or chances are if that's happening to you, you're breathing too much while you're doing yoga. To manage your appetite, there's another consequence or side effect of breathing less. If you breathe less, you won't be as hungry. And so, for this body chemistry yoga, I would invite you to think about breathing less while you do the yoga practice. At some point, you're going to need to breathe, right? And you use the breath to help push you into and out of postures. That's like the vinyasa method. So you use the diaphragm and the other muscles of breathing to help propel you into and out of poses. So it's less of a superficial muscular effort and more of just an impulse from the core of your body. Another element that's going to kind of be a variable in the immune system is your eyes and how you gaze. The optic nerve is the largest nerve that enters the brain. And so it's the single biggest nerve that has an impact on your state of mind. And if you can soften your gaze while you're doing yoga postures, even if you're falling or you're losing your balance or you're doing some posture that you're not bendy enough for, or a standing pose that's just like really effort, if you can just soften your gaze a little bit, that will affect your fight or flight, which will affect your immune system and the hormones that will circulate your body. And then all of the other things that I always say, like drop your tongue. Right now you're probably holding your tongue, so let it go. And push your belly out when you breathe in. That'll help stimulate the nerves at the base of your lungs. So 2 things. Breathe less, soft eyes. Other than that, is there anything in particular that anybody wanted to, I know everybody wants to move, everybody's a little chilly, but is there anything in particular? First of all, the worst thing to say when you're cold is to tell yourself how cold it is. I do a practice of cold showers. It's a Wim Hof method for basically training the autonomic muscle around my vascular system, the smooth muscle that lines all of my veins and arteries. To start to train that, you take cold showers with a certain mindset. And the worst thing to say to yourself when you get into a cold shower is, oh, it's cold. That makes it more cold. Just tell yourself, I wish it was warmer. At least that has the word warm in it. So other than we want to warm up, is there anything in particular, like a pose or anything that comes to mind, or an intention? You know, if you had some words to say about what it is you want to get out of this, I can sprinkle in those words and that will help you get to that place.